Senator from North Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today to talk about two subjects, the first of which is the vote that will begin here in about an hour and a half, and that's on this rescissions bill. I've indicated and I voted for the discharge petition and the motion to proceed last night. For those who may not know that process, voting for the discharge petition simply means that we took it out of committee. Voting for the motion to proceed simply means that we're now on the bill and we'll be considering amendments over the course of the next several hours to determine if we have member support to change the bill, to improve it from different people's perspectives. And I intend to vote for final passage at this time. I'm also looking at other amendments that maybe will make the bill better. But I also have to speak to the unique nature of this rescissions package so that we make sure that we get this right and we lay the groundwork for future rescissions. The only time that we've had a successful rescissions package in modern history was 1992. And that rescission, and by the way, for those who don't know what rescission is, it just simply means this funding will be cut. You will not be allowed to spend money in the administration. Well, in 1992, the successful rescissions package actually had significant cuts, but in every case, it had very detailed list of specific programs that were going to be cut. So then as members, when they proceeded in 1992, candidly, I wasn't even paying attention to politics back in 1992 at this level. But when they were proceeding with the rescissions package, they could look at a specific line item and come to the floor like we're going to do this afternoon and say, I don't like that line item. I'm going to see if I have enough support among my colleagues to take that one out. I'll end up voting for the rescission, but I want that out because I disagree that we should be cutting the funding. In an ideal world, that success in 1992 would have instructed the rescissions package we have before us today. But the reality is we don't have those details. I'm prepared to vote for this rescission package with the hope that I can trust those who are going to make the detailed decisions for about $7 billion of the total $9 billion rescission. About $2 billion of it is associated with National Public Radio, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. People have asked me, why wouldn't I try to vote on an amendment to cut that out? Because I believe that those organizations have drifted over time, that we probably at some point should provide funding to them, but I'm not going to fight that part of the rescission. It's at least we know exactly what it is. So members have to decide whether or not they're okay with it. I suspect we're going to find out there are some things that we're going to regret, some second and third order effects, and I suspect that when we do, we'll have to come back and fix it. Similar to what I'm trying to do with the bill I voted against a couple of weeks ago, the so-called Big Beautiful bill, that I think we're going to have to go back and work on. But the remainder of the rescissions package really is at the top level. We have no earthly idea what specific cuts will occur. But I'm willing to give OMB and the President the benefit of the doubt that there are going to be responsible cuts. There's two kinds of areas that I'm going to be focused on in particular. There's an area that could lay the groundwork for the administration to cut roughly $200 million from a Ukraine support program. It's not the military support program. I appreciate what the President's doing in terms of finally getting to a point to where we're going to sustain support for Ukraine. This happens to be a program that some believe, if it's cut, could harm some of the non-military aid that we're providing Ukraine. I share that belief. Now, I've been told as late as yesterday that will not be one of the cuts. And so I'm willing to move forward and vote on this bill on the assumption that that comes to pass. However, if we find out that some of these programs that we've communicated should be out of bounds, that advisors to the President decide that they're going to cut anyway, then there will be a reckoning for that. It won't be in this bill, but this is only a small bill. This is a $9 billion rescissions package, folks. We've been told that through DOGE, there should be $1 trillion or $2 trillion in savings. The reason why it's so important to get this rescissions bill right is because if confidences are betrayed with a $9 billion bill, do you really think you're going to have the support for wide open, trust us decision for future larger rescissions? In other words, if my confidence is betrayed here, then I won't vote for another rescissions bill unless we have that line item programming. But I'm willing to go through this exercise, and hopefully we can trust the administration to not go down the path that we've been assured that they won't. When they're given this broad ability to make up to about $7 billion in cuts. Now, some of them are obvious. People are going to say, well, Tillis, you're worried about, pick some sort of liberal program in some part of the world. Obviously, we're not. There's a lot of things that we can cut where scope creep or fraud or abuse exists. But ladies and gentlemen, some of these programs will have life impacts. I was in Kenya, in Nairobi, outside of Kenya. I was at a Sudanese refugee camp a couple of months ago. And what struck me in this refugee camp were these American signs in a maternal ward with children that had distended bellies. They had flies crawling all over them, expectant mothers sick. And they were thankful that they had that condition to bring their children to and to potentially get support for expectant mothers. They were thankful for those conditions that we would find abominable in this country. And they were willing to give the United States credit to give them those conditions. Those are the kinds of programs that I am imploring the administration to not touch when given the broad authority that they'll get with this bill. Because if they do, it could be the end to billions of dollars that we could potentially rescind if we don't do one of two things in this bill. Number one, get this authority and cut programs like I just described in Kenya or Ukraine. Or get this authority and betray a confidence with our colleagues on the other side of the aisle in a spending decision that was used to fund the government. We've got this year-end appropriation that we have to work on, September 30. We got to fund the government. Now, how likely is it that Democrats are going to come with us? The only way we can fund the government is to get at least 7 Democrats to vote with us at the end of September 30, or we could go into a shutdown. If I'm a Democrat and you're trying to get me to vote and get to a 60-vote threshold to fund the government, and you've just betrayed a prior agreement and a prior appropriation, what are the likelihood that they're going to do that? So if we don't get agreement, if I see any rescissions that are betraying a confidence that we as U.S. senators made to get the government funded, that's going to be a problem for me in the next rescissions bill. Now, somebody may say I'm showboating or doing something else by coming to the floor and doing this, but folks, I'm trying to protect this administration from itself in terms of future decisions that will make our job more difficult to govern here. I want the president to be successful with these rescissions packages. I want the people advising him to know how they execute will determine whether or not President Trump is ultimately successful.